the Democrat Party trying to do? It's trying to have permanent control. It wants to turn red states into blue states. If you nationalize the election process, then you nationalize the power of the Democrat Party. Does the Democrat Party care about the country? No. Now, why do I say that? It attacks the economic system. It attacks the independence of the judiciary. It wants to pack the Supreme Court, pack the United States Senate. It likes the Electoral College when it wins. It wants to destroy it when it loses. Open borders. The only explanation for open borders is twofold. One, to import Democrats. We know 2/3 of the people who come over the southern border, if they become citizens, vote Democrat.
Unless they're coming from Cuba and they might vote Republican.
And that really demonstrates the outrageous inhumanity of their ideology. It's all about power and politics. This is about restructuring our society so the centralized government and the bureaucracy and the Democrat Party are in control. If this is not an American form of Marxism, then what the hell is it?
What you just heard was conservative commentator and popular radio talk show host Mark Levin issue a dire warning to the American people. He warned that the Democratic Party is not about caring and building up the United States of America. No. Instead, he details a Democratic Party that is all about power, all about control, and will do everything to keep that power and control here in the United States of America. You see, their ultimate agenda is about restructuring the United States of America, and it seems as if that is clearer today than ever before. I mean, think about what the Democratic Party is doing right now. As Mark Levin said, they're restructuring everything. But even more, they're even pushing ideals and principles that support Marxism. Here's what I'm talking about. Black Lives Matter. Take a look at this article on NewYorkPost.com. Black Lives Matter co-founder describes herself as a trained Marxist. FoxNews.com. Black Lives Matter glorified Cuban dictator Fidel Castro. Fidel Viva. FoxNews.com. Marion Smith, Marxist BLM. Here's why it supports Cubans, communists, over the protesters. FoxNews.com. Representative Nicole rips AOC as a communist sympathizer after Cuban remarks. Bottom line here is many within the Democratic Party, especially your Democrat social justice members like Rashid Tlaib, AOC, Cori Bush, and many, many others within the Democratic Party, are literally pushing communist and Marxist ideas here in the United States of America. And they're supporting very radical things like the Black Lives Matter organization. Not to mention many brands like Nike and even the NBA sporting facilities are also backing these Marxist communist mentalities. Like Mark Levin said, I think this is something that we should definitely be worried about here in the United States of America. After all, we don't want to end up like Cuba or Venezuela. But speaking of, what are some of the things that the Biden administration is now doing that, well, Marxist and communist countries have done in the past? Well, take a look. GatewayPundit.com. Biden regime to monitor private communications. Calls on SMS carriers to dispel misinformation about the vax that is sent over social media and text messages. MSN.com, FoxBusiness.com. Psaki says administration is working with Facebook to limit misinformation. So the Biden administration is now acting like a communist Marxist regime, not only sending some kind of fact checks to your SMS carriers, basically reading your text messages between you and your Verizon or T-Mobile or whatever company you have. On top of that, they're also telling Facebook and other social media sites what they can and can't say and what people can and can't publish, and telling them exactly what to do. These are the same things that happen in countries like China and North Korea and Cuba and many, many others. And you want to know what else happens in Marxist country? How about the fact that they start putting domestic forces locally all over the place? Well, that's happening with the Biden administration. Take a look at this. Forbes.com. Capitol Police are now opening field offices in California and Florida to investigate threats to lawmakers. SeattleTimes.com. How the Democratic parties are now hoping to enact a domestic agenda. What is this domestic agenda? How about the fact that they're labeling domestic extremists here in the United States of America and really going hardcore at their own people rather than international threats? You know, things that happened in, again, communist Marxist countries. You know what else happens in countries like that? They tell people, school members, families, friends, to start turning in and reporting anyone that they deem as such said domestic extremists, right? Take a look at this article. This is on OANnews.com. Biden FBI tells Americans to report their family and friends, alleges homegrown violent extremism. Breitbart.com. Biden administration is also asking Americans to report potentially radicalized friends and family members. So there you have it. The Democratic Party is acting like full tyrants here in the United States of America. I thought we were supposed to be free. But let's add a little fuel to the fire. Just who might these domestic terrorists or extremists be? In fact, they haven't really given us a full answer to that, but they do continue to, blacklist and push down and hide information from conservatives, Republicans, patriots, and Trump supporters. In fact, check out this latest article here on thehill.com. Ex-Trump official, #1 national security threat I've ever seen is the GOP. The article goes on to state this. A former Trump administration official is calling the Republican Party the #1 national security threat. Miles Taylor, a former Department of Homeland Security official, made the comment during an interview on MSNBC's The Read Out. I've spent my whole career not as a political operative. I've never worked on a campaign in my life or other campaigns against Trump. I'm a national security guy. I've worked in national security against ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Russia, Taylor said. And the #1 national security threat I've ever seen in my life to this country's democracy is the party that I'm in, the Republican Party. It is the #1 security national threat to the United States of America. So there you have it. The #1 threat to the United States of America is, drumroll please, the Republican Party. Maybe that's why many of our posts are getting removed. That's why Facebook has been blocking our information. We get pulled off of Google and YouTube, downlisted and degraded on multiple numbers. Maybe that's why the Biden administration is creating this domestic terror force. I don't know. But what I do know is that Mark Levin's words are ringing very clear today. Anyhow, please don't forget to get to restrictedrepublic.com. Also, please don't forget to check out my partner at hidewithlisa.com. If you don't want anybody knowing what you look at on the internet really isn't any of their business anyway, then make sure you get a VPN. I have it on all my phones, all my computers, and I really won't surf the internet without it. So check them out at hidewithlisa.com and protect your information by doing that. Anyhow, I love all of you. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.